What's up, lads and ladettes? How are we all doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastically well. So in this video, it's kind of a two-pronged thing. First, I want to correct myself from my previous video. I made a little bit of a mistake in my loot nanny thing. Not to do with the actual demonstration of how the thing works, but just a small bit of information of what I put in that was incorrect, something you wouldn't actually be able to do in-game. But it was so small, I didn't even notice it just because it was such a tiny thing. But it is one of those things where it was incorrect, and I really should correct myself on it. It was pointed out to me by Lurkstrom, who said at 4 minutes 25 seconds, you can't use BLP amps with laser weapons. I thought someone trying to educate others would pay attention to such details. Now, he is 100% right. You cannot put BLP amplifiers on laser weapons. And he is also correct that I should have paid more attention to the information that I was putting out. And I will endeavor to do that in the future. But it did allow me to learn something interesting about the amplifiers. Now, I always thought that BLP amplifiers were more efficient, had lower decay than laser amplifiers. Apparently that's not the case. I was looking at this and I wanted to see how far out the information actually was. So I went on here and you can select loadout. So I looked at this, and I looked at the number, I looked at the ammo burn on the an LR25 with a BLP amplifier, which is funny. And then I looked at the one with the L amplifier, and I saw that it didn't change. So in my head, I thought, oh, maybe the program just corrects it for people because it is such a small mistake. So I looked at the BC25s, and I looked at the same thing. And indeed, it has the exact same reading for the BLP amplifier and the energy weapon amplifier. Now, I decided that I'll just go onto the wiki and I would actually look up, total uses and all that sort of stuff out of the amplifiers, because I honestly thought for quite a while that the laser amplifiers had more decay or more ammo burn. But no, that's it's one of those things where, I was just wrong on that one. It has the exact same amount of uses and the exact same amount of decay and cost. It just goes on different weapons, which I found funny because an LR25 has, like, an LR25 has a higher initial thing than a BC25, and I just found it interesting that even though the weapons themselves, even though they are the same level, the weapons themselves vary greatly, but the amplifiers don't. I don't know. I just found it interesting, but it would make sense from like a quote unquote lore perspective that laser weapons would have a far higher damaging effect on the actual weapon compared to using explosive propelled lead and all that sort of stuff. So ballistic stuff. So I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting. I don't know if you guys found it interesting or not, but the other thing that I wanted to go over was amplifiers themselves. Mainly, how do you know you are able to use a specific amplifier? And there's a couple of different things to go over. First things first, there is, when it comes to weapon amplifiers, there are 4 different weapon amplifiers as far as I know. Okay, as far as I know, you have the BLP amplifiers, you have the energy weapon amplifiers, you have the melee amplifiers, and you have the mind force amplifiers. Now, I don't think there's another weapon amplifier out there, but if there is, please correct me in the comments. But as far as I know, there's only 4 different types of amplifiers when it comes to weaponry. There is mining amplifiers. I don't know if there's other amplifiers, but I know there is mining amplifiers. But the basics is, how do you know what amplifier goes on what. And you might look at some of these, and some of these look very similar in their appearance, but they also have, obvious titles like melee trauma amplifier. But if you find something like, let's say you find this Omegaton A102, and you're not 100% certain what it goes on, right? You can have a look at it and see that it has burn damage, so that would be a good indication that it's an energy weapon. But if you're really, really, really unsure, you can just go into the information here. If you're really, really unsure, just go into the information here and it will tell you what it attaches to. The fire rate controller in this is a generic attachment to most kinds of BLP weapons. That's for the Dante. The Omegaton A102, which surprisingly enough is the only unlimited amp that I've ever looted and sold it for like 100 and something PED. It was nice. This weapon's amplifier is made to be a generic attachment to any kind of energy weapon, and then you have the melee trauma amp, which states that it increases the damage of any melee weapons, and then you have the Neo Scion, which adds impact damage to Mind Force attack chips. So if you are unsure on what attaches to what, just look at the information and you should be golden. There's a couple of other little bits and bobs to think about as well. You need to make sure that the weapon that you're attaching this to does at least the minimum, the same amount of damage, the minimum damage as whatever you're attaching it to. So if I was to attach, say, this melee trauma amplifier to a weapon, I would need to attach it to a weapon that has a minimum of 4 damage. So I think something like a... let's just have a little look-see here. Yeah, so this TT blade, I would be able to attach this melee trauma amplifier to this TT blade because the TT blade has more than 4 damage here. See, so you'll be able to attach that to that. This will increase the efficiency parameter here, which is just a TT modifier, but it will also increase the damage per pack and all that good stuff. So just a few things to keep in mind. But this video was just going to be really short, sharp, and simple. Just the correction and then a little bit of information and and just the things that I learned because, I don't know, it's just interesting. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. You'll take care. If I missed something, feel free to comment it down below, or if you want to build upon this, feel free to comment it down below. I'm going to leave it there. You'll take care, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next one.